Okay. What is today? Happy Tuesday. Um, so I just did my little like grocery store run. So now my food, the rice maker's on, and I have like 20 some minutes. So I figured I'd come up and do a little. This is actually really cool. I feel like I love the winter and the rain, so I'm in all my like rain gear. I guess it's like all black season, even though it's all black season fucking every day for me anyway. Black nails, fucking black boots. I look like a whole ass like witch superhero out here with my like braids. The Milli Vanilli braids, that's what they're called. They're called the Milli Vanilli braids. Okay, anyway. So today, there was like an article shared that was like, career advice I'd give to the younger version of myself if you're interested in going into data science or AI, right? And I was reading it and I was just like, yes, like a lot of people were talking more about principle as opposed to content, and that is like a really huge deal. Like, I think a lot of people are sitting here thinking like, oh, the most important part is for me to like understand this one topic. Like once I understand this one topic, then the worlds will open for me. I will be great and I can do a lot of things. And this is true. I think for some people who just want to like get a job, for instance, like when people ask me, how do I get my internships? Because internships are hella competitive, but I mean, basically be good, like be so good that people can't ignore you. Like that's all I did. It's like every single accomplishment that I had that was small as fuck to other people, I was just like blowing that shit up. Like, yo, I built this whole ass database, I queried 9 billion records, I did this, I gave talks on it, I wrote about it. Like if you were on my feed, you knew what was up because I let everybody know what I did. It was a small win to everyone else on my team. They were like, we don't give a shit. Little intern project. For me, I was like, what, I did this, yo. And all the other interns, were like, yo, she did that, oh. People started getting excited about data, but it's like your small ass wins actually mean a lot. And I think another thing that was interesting is like thinking about a quote I saw that was like last week that was really talking about like stop comparing yourself to other niggas, like other people, right? Like compare yourself to you yesterday. And like that's something that I've been about that this whole time. Like I think a lot of people don't know, but like the first year I applied to Code 2040, I didn't get in. I just never told anybody that because it was like embarrassing a little bit. It was like, damn, I can't code for shit, and I couldn't. I was really bad. I didn't know what a loop was, nothing. I was just like, I'm gonna try, right? But like, or even people will think like, oh, because you have like hella internships, like you never failed. Like I failed a lot, but you only really need one win. Like think about, or if you actually read or talk to successful people, they're not talking about like, let me tell you all the times that I failed. They're like, or let me not say it, like they if you talk to them, a lot of them will talk to you about all the times that they failed. Talk to someone else about them and they'll talk about the one time that they succeeded. But like failure is just like a part of the process. And I think like there's something else, and I feel like it's something that I really focused on. I feel like the end of last year is when I really started to like be about mastery. Like mastery, like in your field, in your domain. And I think some things that some people don't understand about like AI, data science, big data, whatever, is that it's industry specific. It's really like domain specific. So like whatever, like for instance, I'm interested in fashion. Like I like clothes. I had to like think about that a lot. Like a lot of my little side projects that I tried to come up with, they all tended to be around fashion. Cause like I appreciated the time when I was like modeling. I've liked clothes for a long time, but like I've also liked solving problems. So there's like this niche space that's like data science in fashion. There's like not many people doing it, and even some of the like data scientists who do it are not actually into fashion. They're just good at data science, and that like goes across the board for other industries too. Like people who are just really good at math, but like they don't really give a shit about whatever industry they're working on, and so that's why they're actually like not really good data scientists in the companies that they're working on, because like data science is qualitative and quantitative. It's like literally 50-50. Like you can't just have domain expertise with no computation or analytical skills. Like it's not going to work. You can't do anything with that. You can make recommendations to someone who is analytic, but you need that other half. Or if you are just analytic and you have no way to apply that, which I think is the biggest problem for like data scientists who are just like statisticians, or really even like engineers who've never worked in industry. It's like they are familiar with solving these like abstract problems from the internet, and like that is not the way that problems look in-house. Like when people are thinking about like data science, right, like you might be like, okay, well, I need like a PhD in statistics. That could be useful, but from all like I've worked, my first data science team was a whole team of like PhD statisticians. They were not good computer scientists. They were literally telling me about how they had to go through an entire separate learning process, which took most of them like 2.5 years really to become good data scientists in industry. Like they were really bad. They didn't know how to use Python software packages. They didn't know anything about parallel computing, distributed processes, like transferring data, big data, Spark, Hadoop, like, well, not Hadoop anymore, but you get where I'm coming from. Like in industry has different problems than theory, and you have to be able like to connect the lines. Like there is a process where it's like you have to think about where it is that you sit and your expertise and what you know, really your company's expertise, like the business, the people who are working in biz dev, the people who have been working with the code base, like the people who know the data, the people who are talking to customers. Like all of those things like matter in terms of like creating a product and actually being like useful on the team that you're on. Those things matter, and I think like I've really been thinking about that in the long haul, because I've seen some of the researchers that I admire kind of going into industry and trying to solve real world problems. And now like one of the things I've been trying to do is like think about applications for Poet. And Poet is just, to me it was the coolest paper of, I think it came out in 2020, it might have been 2019, but I read it so many times and thought about like how I could apply this so many times. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna, the MineRL competition seemed like a useful place to like try it out. And the one thing I actually didn't think so much about was the application, right? Like I was reading so much about the theory and how this idea could be used. I didn't really focus so much in the paper on like how they got it done. Like, not just looking at the code base and understanding that it's there, but running the code and being able to like use all of that compute. So when I looked back at it, I realized I think they might have 1 million hyperparameters in that model. They have 172 CPUs to run that model. Like how the fuck am I gonna like reproduce that in another domain? I don't, like, it's super cool and it's novel, and just the fact that you can create all of these like environments and solutions to these environments is cool, but I don't have that fucking much compute. I'm like trying to like ration my $25,000 like AWS credit. How the hell am I gonna get the same amount of credit that like OpenAI got to when they got $1 billion from Microsoft? Like I don't know. Like I guess the best thing I could do is kind of like look at the code base and like understand what happened when, but that model is still in theory, mostly because no one and none of the PhD students actually have the compute to run that model. The only people who can run that model are these corporations. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, I guess I'm really thinking about, you know, how I can take some of these like fields that I'm interested in, like say fashion, and some of the like domain expertise that I have about big data, and apply that to create not even just a product, maybe like a project that's useful and has some like utility. So I kind of wanted to say that, like, I don't know if this has meaning to anyone else. It is meaningful to me, mostly just because I wish that someone who came like before me would just demystify some of the process of like, okay, what's the shit that's really broken and how do you get to the solution? And also maybe even like where are the other people who are working on this? So I practice data science, artificial intelligence. These people are on Twitter. We're on Twitter. Everyone is on Twitter talking about papers and conferences and podcasts and sharing ideas, email threads, group chats, Discord channels. Those are the spaces where actual researchers who build shit are going to share ideas and talk about stuff. And yeah, like tap in, listen in. Even if you don't have anything cool to say, just like, try.